Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we are taking a look at all of the books that I read in November and doing a bit of a deeper dive into what I thought of all of them. Reflecting on the November TBR that I filmed and set myself, I have not quite read all of those books, which means that I've got a pretty hefty December TBR if I want to read as many books as I wanted to read by the end of the year, and also if I wanted to get my 10 before the end done. I'm filming this a couple of days into December. This month is not going any better, so I don't think I'm A, going to reach my reading goal this year, which is fine, and B, I don't think I'm going to manage to read my 10 before the end, which is a little sad, but I'm just going to have to prioritise some of them in January. That being said, the 6 books that I did read felt like bigger, chunkier reads this month, so maybe there was something in that, but there was some real gems in there, so I still want to talk about them anyway. So without any further ado, let's dive into what I read in November, and let me know what your favourite read in November was down in the comments below. I think the reason that I didn't get through as much in November as I planned to is because I didn't actually finish books in October that I was planning to read in October, and that was Anathema and then also Eldrich by Keri. Oh, a bookmark. To quickly wrap these up, Anathema I really enjoyed. This is a spicy gothic fantasy romance from Keri. This is my second Keri book and I did enjoy it. I don't think I enjoyed this as much as I did Nocticardia, which really shocked me. This being fantasy, I thought I was going to prefer this to Nocticardia, which is more dark romance. But that's saying something. Nocticardia is definitely one of my top reads within that dark academia, dark romance category. So this was good. I did give this 4 stars, I think, in the end. It took me a little longer to get through than I was expecting. I was expecting to pick this up and fall in love with it and kind of whiz through the whole thing, but I definitely had to put a bit more work into, I guess, understanding the world. There is a bit more complex world building in this than I was maybe expecting. And I would say I pretty much steamed through the first 15-20%, and then the story for me does slow down. This is a longer book and it is not particularly fast paced. However, I am really intrigued, particularly by the male main character. The female main character was fine as well. I did enjoy, I listened to some of this as well. Like, her storytelling in this is good, but particularly the male main character's backstory and his way of telling the story that happens in Anathema, I think I preferred. I was particularly intrigued by him and his friends and his storyline and his family. There was less trees than I was expecting. I really like a good tree in a fantasy book. Overall, I enjoyed this. I do think I gave this 4 stars, maybe even 4.5. I did really enjoy this. And then I was excited to dive into book 2, which is Eldrich. I'll pop a cover of Eldrich on screen because I've actually given my copy to a friend now, which maybe tells you how I feel about this book. Look, Eldrich was okay. I am so heartbroken. I am more shocked than anybody else that this wasn't for me. I had finished Anathema and was really geared up and raring to go with Eldrich. I was ready for that plot to start happening and to kick up a notch. That just didn't happen for me. There is a note in the front of this book that says something along the lines of, like, the pace is going to drop, like, warning reader, the pace is going to drop, we're going to go back in time, look at a bit of that male main character's backstory, and as I just said, I was very interested in that. I don't know, this for me felt too long, it felt too slow at times. This is one of the reasons I did not get through as many books in November as I wanted to. It took me a real long time to get through Eldrich. I don't know at the minute whether I'll be continuing this series. I really enjoyed book 1, so much so that I think that even though book 2 wasn't quite for me, I'm going to be giving book 3 a go. There was just something in book 1, like, I loved this couple. I really wanted to spend more time with them. I don't know what happened in book 2. It just felt like it lost its way a bit for me. And I feel so bad saying that. Trust me, nobody's more surprised. I think I gave Eldrich maybe 2 stars. I can't remember the exact rating that I gave it, but I think because I didn't have such a great time with this one, it has impacted my feelings about this one. Like, I'm less excited talking about this than I was before I'd read it. And I genuinely thought this was going to be my top 10 books of the year. I thought this was going to be one of my favourite reads of the whole year. And like, whilst this one was good, this one just wasn't. And therefore I think because I read them back to back, I'm treating them as like a collective in my brain. I don't know. I'll probably read book 3. I feel like I have to. I have to figure out what's going to happen. I don't know how many more books are planned in this series. My brain is treating it like book 3 is going to be the last one. So that way I will get to find out. Is it just me that thinks this was originally a duology and now it's been extended? I can't remember. For some reason, I've got this in my brain as the Eating Woods duology, but I know it's since been picked up, and obviously book 2 was so long and did a lot of backstory, so it might be that the author felt there needed to be a book 3. I don't know how long this series is going to be. If the book 3 is the final book, I'll probably read it just so I know what happens. So sorry, Keri. I've loved some of your other books. This one, it just was not for me. So after reading Anathema and Eldrich, which were my first 2 reads of the month, I will say it took me a while to get through them. I needed something light and fluffy and fast paced. I just could feel myself starting to slump. So I picked something that was a completely different speed. This was actually a book recommended to me by my friend Rosie, and then it ended up being picked out of my TBR jar as like my wild card for the month. And oh my god, was this everything I needed. This was A Rivalry of Hearts by Sonia Odette. This was phenomenal. I don't know if the impact of this was greater because I had just struggled with Eldrich, but this felt like breathing. This is a spicy, cozy, fae-based romantasy. I think all of Sonia Odette's books are set in the same world of Fairway. And actually, upon finishing this, I then ordered the indie of this in Booktube because it's going out of print. And then I ordered one of Sonia Odette's series that's already been trad-pubbed recently. The, oh my god, what's this called? The Fair Isle trilogy. Sonia Odette's Rivalry of Hearts really got me when I needed it to. I did a lot of this in audiobook. I actually listened to this. I was doing quite a few trips to London. I listened to this pretty much entirety on the way to and from London, and then read like the last 20% when I got home. This was funny and warm and light, but like the story had real depth at the same time. The romance was so juicy and delicious. Like, I want more of these two. This is a really beautiful indie edition. So just to show you the naked hardback design, these two, I'm obsessed with them. I want this framed. It follows the story of an author who's from the human realm, and she's actually come over to the Fae part of the world, I guess, to do a book tour. And her books are so-so in the human realm. She's making a living, but not a particularly good one. She doesn't know how popular she is over in the Fae realm, particularly because one of the Fae queens loves her books and features them regularly in her book club. But when she turns up, there is a rival on the scene. He's an author of poetry that has been kind of shoehorned into her tour because this girl has the worst luck and she's a few weeks late to the tour, so they've kind of filled her position with a different author. And they then decide to share the tour, or I guess they're told they have to share the tour. And the result is that at the end of the tour, whoever sells the most books, they overhear one of them will be getting an extended author contract, which for their own reasons, they both desperately need. Now, the actual crux of this plot is, yes, kind of that, but they also set each other a wager, which is who can seduce the most people along the tour stops. Who knows romance the best? Is it the romantic poet or the romance author? And they agree that whoever seduces the most people will win that contract because the other person will back out and say, hey, I'm not interested in that contract. You should give it to the other person. They do really terribly at this as well, though, because the only people they're falling for is each other. This was just so good. It was cheery. It had like real moments of depth, as I said, like the stories, both of their characters' stories like really had meaning behind them. The spice was good when we got there. The romance was like full of tension. And I love books where like the characters are idiots and you spend the whole time being like, you two are idiots, but I want you to kiss. I also really enjoyed the world. This was my first book from Sonia Odette, and knowing now that the other books are set in the same world, that's why I've picked more up. As I said, I did pick up the second book in this series as well, which is My Feral Romance. As I said, I wanted to grab them both in the indie hardbacks with that beautiful character art on before they go trad-pubbed. I think these are picked up now, so they should become a bit more widely available for everybody. But I loved A Rivalry of Hearts. I've not quite gotten to My Feral Romance just yet. I'm saving it again for a time where I feel like I'm in a slump and I need something that's just going to sort me right out. I think I gave this 5 stars. This was maybe 4.5 stars. 5 stars I think I gave this. It was just so good. Again, it could have been the situation that made me rate this higher, but I do just genuinely think the story was fantastic. After that, I went on to one of my books that's on my 10 before the end list, and it is also one of my most highly anticipated re-releases from indie to trad publishing this year. That is The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman. Again, I adored this. I devoured this. This was really easy to love. Was this the best writing? No. Was it the most complex plot or most extravagant world building? No. Was it a good time? Absolutely it was. Again, I did part audio. I've read a lot of audiobooks this month, actually, reflecting. I did this part audio, part physical book. I've had a thing for Wolf Shifters this year. Really enjoyed Direbound. Really enjoyed this. The narration, the audiobook narration was fantastic. I would love to know whether I would have enjoyed it as much, actually, if I just read the book. I think I would have done. This was like another 5-star read for me. I was obsessed with this. It was, again, fast-paced, action-packed, super juicy. The romance was great. Although I think some of you are getting Tamlined. I'm not going to tell you who I think is getting Tamlined, but I think some of you are getting Tamlined. This is Scottish-inspired, but quite lightly. This isn't Scottish-inspired in the way that I would say that the mythology is used in series like A River Enchanted. It definitely felt more light touch in this one. And it felt like it had a lot of those like plot beats that work really well in romantasy. A really explosive start. I really liked a lot of the characters in this one. And just to talk about the series as a whole so far, I then actually went on to read The Night Prince, which isn't out in physical format yet. This one I also did largely on audiobook, and I preferred this audiobook because they've added a narrator for the character of Blake. The first audiobook is just 2 and the male narrator only does Callum. So there's 2 love interests in this book series. If you didn't know, there's Callum and Blake. So I really enjoyed the second audiobook, particularly more than the first. I think that addition of another male narrator really built the story out. I think you guys would like this. Like, I think if you're looking for something that is easy but still feels epic and still feels like a full-on fantasy, this one could be for you. If you're not a love triangle person, avoid this one like the plague. That being said, like, I am pretty confident she's going to pick one of them. And I'm pretty confident I know who it's going to be. But I would love to know what you guys think in the comments. Are you Team Blake or Team Callum? I, for a long time, was Team everybody, like just all of you kiss. But I am now firmly on a team. If you've seen my shorts, you'll know which team I'm on. But I'd love to know what team you guys are on. Callum or Blake? Which one are you picking? This was like just twisty and turny enough that it still felt really familiar and quite homely. Like, I knew what I was getting with this book. I knew what I was getting into. But there was still plenty of twists and turns and like unexpected shocks that even I wasn't expecting. I read a lot within this genre now, and I can usually see a plot twist a mile off. So kudos to you for still managing to shock me or take me down a route I didn't think we were going down. Book 2 I actually preferred over book 1, I think. The story really ramps up in book 2 and we get to spend a bit more time with some of my favourite characters, personally. But I feel like I had a much better sense of the world and like what was at stake and the politics and the risk around all the different choices our main character had made thus far. Book 1, I feel like she was kind of on the sidelines, but book 2, she really starts to come into her own, which I adored. So I would really recommend this one. I think particularly if you're a romantasy fan, this one has to be like a must-do on your TBR. And the last book that I read in the month of November, this feels so short. I'll tell you at the end what I was hoping to have read by the end of November that I didn't get round to. But let's dive onto this one first, and that is Hollow by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. I'm really happy I found this when I did. I have to start off by saying, I mean, this was 5 stars. I loved it. I love everything these two have written. There's 1 or 2 books I've given 3 stars, but most of them are a 5-star for me. This felt elevated. I would go so far to say, if you haven't enjoyed books by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti in the past, I would give this a go. I think this is so completely different to anything they've ever written. It definitely feels more, I mean, I said elevated, which doesn't maybe feel like quite the right word. So for example, Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Boys, Kings of Quarantine all have a bit of cheese I really vibe with. They're my sense of humour. I really get behind them. But I know those ones are a bit like Marmite. You either love them or you hate them. Whereas this one, I think if you have hated the other stuff, still give this a go. I can't believe I'm saying this. This was everything I was hoping Anathema was going to be. This isn't as gothic in tone, definitely, but it has like a Hunger Games-esque trial style storyline. It is set within this kind of sentient forest, has moments that are dark and gloomier. The male love interest is unhinged and dangerous. They really got me with the first bit. I'm not going to tell you what happens in it, but like, I was expecting a character to stick around maybe a bit longer than they did, and I was like, oh, okay, bye then. The Twisted Sisters do not fail to make me cry every time they write a book. This one was no different. But as I said, I think like the fantasy world building in this one, a lot of the critiques that people have about the other books, I don't think you can apply to this, even though they're not critiques that I would necessarily align with or agree with. I don't think they apply to this. I think if you've never enjoyed anything by them, I think give this a go. It just felt so new. In fact, if you put this in front of me, even if it was just like a couple of chapters and said who wrote that, part of me would know. Part of me would be like, I feel like this is the Twisted Sisters because of, you know, the trauma and the pain and the crying and the addictiveness. But actually, like, it just felt so new, so fresh, so different from anything they've done before. I enjoyed the idea of the spirit animals and that whole magic system around those. I enjoyed the setting of the forest and like the rules of the forest, and there's this thing where they have to get indoors and be sheltered by nighttime or else they're pretty much guaranteed to not make it. I enjoyed all the different characters in this. The plot twist, oh my god, if there's one thing the Twisted Sisters can do, it is like shock me at the end of the book and make me need the second one immediately. This was really good. This was, between this and The Wolf King, I think was my book of the month. I'm planning to film another video today, which I think will be uploaded later in the month, but this immediately came to mind. I'm doing like an Occult Spicy Books Choice Awards. This, as soon as I heard a category, I was like, Hollow. Absolutely give it a go. You can read it on Kindle. It might even be on Kindle Unlimited. There is a indie paperback out, I believe, in the UK. And then there is also a couple of special edition hardbacks that are available. If you're struggling to get them in the UK, order them off the US Amazon or any other kind of US site that ships here. But this was really great. It was juicy. It was foresty. It was a little dark. It was really addictive. and the magic system was really unique compared to everything else they've done. I'll probably get questions. I don't think this is connected to the world of Solaria or any of their other fantasy worlds. I think this is something brand new in a brand new setting. I think I didn't read a lot this month for a couple of reasons, and I appreciate for some people 6 books will be a lot of books to read in a month. For me, I tend to average around 9 or 10, but that's quite new for this year as well. I think last year I was aiming for like 12 to 16 a month. I'm really happy that the 6 books that I did read felt really fantastic, with the exception of Eldrich. But I think there was a few reasons. I think Eldrich made me slump a little bit, and also it just took me so long to get through that book. And then I picked up towards the end of the month. I finished Wolf King and the Night Prince and Rivalry of Hearts and Hollow pretty quickly, and I probably could have fit in another couple of books, but I didn't read anything the whole last week of November. What I was hoping to read within that last week was Quicksilver and Brimstone, and potentially fit in Spark of the Everflame. Those are some books that are on my 10 before the end as well. However, I was like in London for an event, and then I was wrapping up with work, and then it was my birthday and I was in London, and then I had my friend over for the weekend, and also it's been Black Friday, so like I was working a lot. Did I start Quicksilver? I think I did about 20 pages of Quicksilver that whole week, but it's fine. I'm now about 60% of the way into Quicksilver. I'm filming this like early December, so maybe by the time you watch this I will have finished it. I am addicted. I love it. I am so sad. I've already filmed some of my like end of year wrap ups, and I'm so sad, and I wish I would have waited, because Quicksilver deserves to be in there, and now it's not going to be. I might have to like put in the comments in all caps like and Quicksilver on all of those videos. But those are all the books that I read in November. I am hoping to get a bit more read in December. I think if I can fit in 9 or 10 books, which is my usual amount, I'm still not going to meet my reading goal, but I think I will be happy with reading that amount in December. That being said, it has been a very busy December so far, so who knows? I'm already behind on how many books I would like to read. Like usually I would have finished a book by now. It's fine. I'm trying to take it one day at a time. I'm trying to chill out a little bit. And December's going to be busy too, with lots of like Christmas stuff. Although saying that, I have got some time off work, so like maybe it will even out. I don't know. That is everything for this video. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below what your favourite read of November was. And if you like this video, you might like my others, so make sure that you are subscribing before you leave as well. But other than that, I will see you in the next one.